Race number 5 of the T2.5 World Tour. This time it's a hilly one. Going up the mountain, the epic KOM in Watopia, also taking in the dreaded radio tower. 1.5 times points available for this race. So let's see how it went. Here we go then. A race that I know a few people were looking forward to. Me, not so much. This is more of a personal challenge just to get to the top as quickly as I can. I know that I'm not going to be staying with a group of riders for this race at all. But we have lots of videos that have been sent in for this one. We've got Pavel in the B group. We also have Seymour currently on the front of the B group. In the C group, Julia, also at the front there. We have C Waring in the B group as well. Also have Jonesy in the B group. Lots and lots of B group footage for this one. And we have A Mott in the D group. We also have, and I've forgotten, I apologise, who sent this video in. Someone just watching the race and just watching it as it unfolds as well. I think this one will probably end with a bit of a split in the groups. It'll kind of become a little bit strung out as, you know, maybe not towards the bottom of the mountain, but as we go up the mountain, it might spread out slightly. And might come back together towards the bottom. Depends how big those gaps are. But we shall see as we're heading towards a couple of kilometres before we start the climb. As we come towards the start of the climb, the D group are pretty much all together. Couple of, well, lots of well-known faces in there. C Cross, Tim Glasby, Rebel Spawn, DC Marks, A Evans, Rob M Pierce, and I'm missing loads. Scholesy in there as well. It's hard to follow that as it all moves around. We're just climbing out from the underwater tunnel. I have to put a bit of a burst in here to catch onto the back of that group. But heading towards the climb, let's have a look and see where the Bs are. They seem like they're pretty much together. This is Seymour. I can see C White, John Kerr, M Way, D Starks in there as well, C Jupp as well. They're just making their way towards the sort of, it's the climb before the climb, isn't it? It's the climb up to the bridge. When you go over the sort of 2-3% bridge and then on from there. Let's have a look around the rest of the B cap. Jonesy now stepping out onto the front. There's no real gap in there at the moment. Pretty much all together. Let's have a look at Julia and see how the C's are getting on. They're split out a little bit now. George is off the front already by 3 seconds. Craig's in there, M Coogs, L Connor, W Pietek, P Williams, J Robinson, A Scott. They're probably the most strong out of the group so far, as George is taking an effort on the front, maybe trying to get that gap early before the real climbing begins, as they're about to hit the start of that climb right now. 8 minutes 50 in, and you can already see the huge gap that's opening up in front of me. We've barely done any climbing at the moment. I'm just putting out some, well, it's orange zone, red zone on there at the moment. 250 watts. What I'm trying to do for this is just stay as steady as possible, but I'm at 32 seconds behind Ferguson. I've got Scholesy with me, and then the gaps are up to the sort of 50 odd minute marks. Let's have a look over at the at A Mott, a bit further up the road in the D cap. Latix with A Hugavine. And then H. Sophocleus with N. Ruddlesden, out front D. Gilmore, Rob, A. Mott and Tim Glasby, and Rebel Spawn, and Barber, J. Gilligan, all within a couple of seconds of each other, are Howe, DC Marks. It'd be interesting to see how that changes over the course of the race. Let's have a look over at Pavel. So, Pavel got a split in the Bs as well. I wonder whether the Bs might stay together a little bit longer. But we've got John and Chris off the front by the looks of it. Jonesy, Knowles in there, and Corbin. Let's jump around. We've got lots of views of the B, so let's have a look. In that group, it's C Waring in this group at the front, really. John's off the front by 20 seconds. Chris is up there with Jonesy as well. And then we've got the group here. N. Corbin, C Waring, M. Way, C White, and Slevin, P. McMillan, all together. And then back to that Seymour group. Let's go back and have a look at that. Seymour with D Stark. Kind of making sure that I cover all the camera angles. Here's Jonesy up the road with Chris as well. So Chris just ahead at this stage. Both, they were just over 4 watts per kilo at the moment. On this 3% bridge, as you get over to the end, that's where the climbing begins. Onto the real part of the climb here. Jonesy has caught Chris as Eric goes through. So the A-Cat, who would be the A-Cat, we actually said would go on mountain bikes on this route. Although it doesn't look like on the screen it's updated, but Eric was on a mountain bike. He's caught, and now Chris and Jonesy putting out over 4 watts per kilo each as they're heading up the mountain. Let's have a look and find out where the C-Cat are. So they're about to come around and start onto the main climb. George is a 16-second lead now over Julia. Al Connor just 2 seconds behind with P. Williams, A. Scott, W. Piertex there as well, M. Coogs. This isn't as, and then J. Robinson, and then back to another little group behind as well. They're kind of spreading out a bit, but staying together, if that makes sense. Let's have a look somewhere else in the race. So C. Waring, you can see that group out ahead. Just a 6-second lead over C. Waring and N. Corbin, M. Way, then P. McMillan, C. White, N. Slevin, starting to splinter slightly as we head up the hill. Nearly 18.5 minutes in, just coming through that. Is it a castle where it levels off a little bit? And this has changed a lot. So Eric came through. Chris has actually gone with him. He's put in a huge effort to go with Eric as they've gone through. And he's 25 seconds ahead now of John and Jonesy. Incredible effort. As C. Waring's also now coming through that. He's got 10 seconds behind those two. He's got M-Way with him. N. Corbin just behind. As Seymour is also making his way up towards that area. And this is where it's embarrassing. I'm just coming round to start the climb at the bottom. I took it a little bit easier along the bridge because I just know, with knowing that the radio tower climb is to come as well. This, I'm thinking more endurance in my head than I am pushing out the biggest possible watts that I can. As I know it's going to ramp up here, now is the time I'm going to need my energy. So, yeah, I leveled off slightly during that, but I'll push a little bit more further up the hill. Let's have a look over at, let's see, Waring, at A. Mott in the D-Cat. So where's that? D. Gilmore still looks like out front, minute over A. Mott. H. Sophocleus just behind. It's over 30 seconds behind. Rob, A. Hugavine, Lassix Warrior, and N. Ruddleston all riding together. And then M. Barber behind A. Mott, and I. Ferguson. It's a little bit spread out. Tim Glasby and A. Evans are pretty close together, but it's quite spread out down the mountain in the D group. Here's Pavel with his beautifully paced power graph again, just catching Jay Guthrie. I can't see really who's around them because Pavel is in the way of the timing screen on the right hand side, but putting in an effort there and jumping ahead and watching D. Stark. If we find out where the C's are, we haven't looked at them for a little while. They're kind of coming up through the mountain pass thing, I guess. Is that what it's called? George has got a 1 minute 16 second lead with P. Williams just ahead of Julia. They're putting out roughly the same level of power. With W. Piertex there as well, A. Scott, L. Connor. So there's a lot of C-Cat riders all within a couple of seconds with each other there. Jonesy, M. Way and C. Waring riding together here, heading up towards the top of the main climb before turning left and doing the radio tower climb. Here is C. Waring's view of that. Just about to come to the top. Pretty much stuck together. You've got Eric and Chris together. They're already on their way up the radio tower climb. 1 minute 32 seconds ahead. Let's have a look at the C-Cat. So they're coming over that rolly bit. That sort of, I don't know, 2/3, 3/4 of the way up the mountain, kind of goes up and down. And that group is still together. Amazing riding to stay together as a group on the way up these climbs. George now has got himself a 1 minute 26 second lead. And looks like he's a little bit further down the road. Maybe that's too much of a gap to catch. I guess we'll wait and see. Let's have a look back at A. Mott coming through that underpass area. 30 seconds behind N. Ruddleston. We've got D. Gilmore still at the front. H. Sophocleus, Rob, A. Ukavin and L. Warrior. Those three, Rob down to L. Warrior, all riding together. N. Roddlesden dropped slightly further off the back of that group. But awesome climbing to get up here. Let's have a laugh. Where am I? Oh, I've come through the flat part. There we go. I'm on my way up the second part of the climb. Still a little way to go for me, but that front group now heading up towards the radio tower. As yeah, I'm sure we'll see in a minute. And here is the radio tower. Jonesy getting himself a little bit of a lead on this climb over M. Way and C. Waring now. And Eric has also pulled a bit of a gap over C. Jupp out the front. We got the C group just about to come and over the top of the main climb before they turn left and head up the wonderful radio tower climb. I do not like the radio tower. It is not much fun at all. Amott. Where are we on the hill? I can't work that out. That's, oh, I know. It's come down the little uppy downy bits and it's just about to turn back down before the climb up to the top of the banner itself. Let's find out how Pavel's doing on the radio tower, up at 13%. I can't see that gap that I can't see the time gaps where he is in relation to other riders, unfortunately. But here we go. Here is Seymour also about to start. It's a nice little descent. It goes down that little bit and you think, oh, this is quite nice. Before you look up and realise that you're going right up to the very top of there. At a very big gradient. No, it slams the brakes on. It's horrible, isn't it? Here's Pavel watching N. Slevin and D. Stark nearly at the top of the climb. I think they're just ahead of Pavel on the route. Is that by about 30 seconds, I think. So Pavel's nearly there as well. I must mention Pavel is riding in the B Cat for the first time this race. Previous 4 races have been in the C Cat. So congratulations for your upgrade into the B category. Awesome effort. Let's have a look around where other people are. Here is Julia, also on her way up the main, or the radio tower climb, I should say. 19 seconds behind A. Scott, and George has got a 2-minute lead out the front. L. Connor, 6 seconds behind W. Piatek and J. Lee. So this is the hill that split that group, working together on the way up the main climb, but then up into the 13%ers, and it has split the group. Let's see some of the guys on the way down. C. Waring, just about to hit that little lumpy bit on the way down, hopefully enjoying the nice ride down the hill. Here's Jay Jonesy, chance to recover a little bit before putting out a little bit more effort. Let's see where Amott is. Also turned left up towards the radio tower climb as well. And then back to me. Where am I? Coming through that little pass on the mountain hill. Quite a long way behind, but still going. Still doing what I can. Still just trying to get to the top. Jonesy then on the final part of the descent back to the main island of Watopia. Eric and Chris still out front. And Chris has still only got a 10-second deficit to Eric. I wonder whether we can close that gap in the final. I guess they've got 5 kilometers left maybe. M-Way 23 seconds behind Jonesy. Then C. Waring is starting to split the groups across the mountain quite a bit here. I've just spotted something out of the corner of my eye. This is Julia. Julia, not even at the top of the mountain yet of the radio tower climb. She's changed to a handbike. That'll be fun on the way down again. We also, talking about on the way down, here is Pavel taking a bit of a breather whilst his little avatar rides down the hill. Let's see who's still on the way up. We've got Amott on the way up the mountain. We've got, I would imagine, a lot of the D group still are making their way up that radio tower climb. It's become quite split there as well. I can't see anyone too close together. Jay Gilligan and Tim Glasby riding together a little bit further down the group. Let's watch Julia as she starts the descent on her handbike. I love that. Julia in full flow down the mountain, and I've noticed she's not the only one. Seymour also has changed over to enjoy the descent on the handbike as well. Pavel in the super tuck, in the more traditional super truck position, taking a breather on the way down. We can see here Ahugin as well on his way up. 6 seconds behind Rob. This is to everybody who's got up the radio tower climb, especially the D group. It's so difficult, and you can see the time differences as they've just come about on the climb, and it's just climbing for so much longer as the higher categories are already back on level ground, as Sea Waring is down on the level ground as well with 5 kilometers left to go. Back to me. Still on my way up. I've not even hit the radio tower climb yet. Nearly 50 minutes in. Kind of a spiky power graph in places. Some of those will be dropping off as the road kind of goes down for a little bit before hitting another climb. But I'm feeling it a little bit, to be honest. Just the length of ride and the consistency of the climbing getting to me. I'm finding it a little bit tough, but I'm doing it. I'm getting there. Here's towards the front of the race. Jonesy coming through the S's now. Eric is going to win this one with a bit of a gap in the end over Chris. Awesome attempt at trying to stay with Eric, Chris, though. That's amazing. M-Way a little way behind. Then Sea Waring a bit further back. Let's have a look. Further up the mountain, Amott just about to start the descent back off the radio tower. Awesome effort. Let's just go back to the front of the B group again. As we're going to get to see Chris over the line. Change of camera angle just at the right time. And there's Jonesy going to be the next one over as well. Let's have a look at this. This is M. Barber on his way down the mountain off the top. Awesome effort. Julia has hit the bottom. I think, yes, but still staying on the handbike. That's an interesting choice. I wonder whether he'll change back or go all the way to the end on the handbike. George, I think, is going to win this one. A. Scott will come second. Then Julia. And that group that was pretty close together has ended up quite split out towards the bottom or towards the top of the radio tower climb and then on the descent back down again. And I am just coming up to crest the main hill before I turn left to do the radio tower. One of the things I love about the T2.5 community is everyone is genuinely interested in watching how other people get on. We've got both Colin and Pavel watching Noel Slevin here and D Stark race to the line. D Stark just out front, but Noel putting out orange watt numbers now, 10.9 watts per kilo. Can he catch him on the line, or is it going to go to D Stark? I think that went to D Stark. It was close, but D Stark just about wins it. I'm just still watching the handbike coming through the S's with Julia. George is going to take the win in the C-Cat, I think, with A. Scott just behind. And Julia, I think, will keep that 16-second lead. Not too far to go. 1.5 kilometres left to go. Watching CY over the line then. A 1 minute 52 lead over Colin. Coming over the line in 13th. Wonder if Colin is still on his handbike. He is. Fair play staying on your handbike after coming down the hill. I suppose it might be quicker than doing a bike change back again. I guess. I have no idea. Let's have a look at Amott. Back on the main Watopia Island now. M. Barber out the front with Rob. The gaps within this group as well seem to be pretty set. There's no one too close together. We're looking at D. Gilmore here towards the front of the race. Second, 12 seconds behind Hates of Fockley. I wonder whether that gap can be closed. It might be a bit too much in the last couple of kilometres. And then me. I am on my way up. Finally, the radio tower climb. I did stop to refill my water bottle actually when I got to the main mountain before turning off onto the radio tower, because I used all my water and hadn't prepared a second bottle. Here's Julia coming over the line on a handbike then, as will Colin. Not too far behind. Julia just completing the route badge there. I think I did as well, actually. I'm surprised to say, because I've climbed the mountain a few times, but not including the radio tower. But I would have thought I'd done this route before, but it doesn't appear like I have. But yeah, I'm still on my way up the climb. Amott heading towards the line then with a 20-second lead over Jay Gilligan. Going to do it in about 1 hour, 13 minutes and about 20 something seconds. Awesome effort. I Ferguson a little further behind with A Evans as well, and then the only person that I got footage left of is me. Amott also getting the route badge there. He's got over the finishing line, and I'm still on my way up towards the radio tower climb. I'm nearly there. I can see the end of the tunnel now. Just the brow of that hill, and I can finally enjoy a nice ride down. Got I Ferguson 20 minutes ahead of me. A Evans 19 minutes ahead. Tim Glasby, Rebel Spawn, Neil Brandon, all quite well spread out on the hill. DC Marks, M Pierce, who passed me as I was going up the hill. He was on his way down. And Scholesy putting in an awesome effort at the back as well. Let's jump forward to me getting over the line, shall we? If only it was really that quick. But here I am coming towards the end of the ride. Into the final 100 metres. It's going to be 1 hour 30. Is it going to just sneak under the 1 hour 36? It's going to be close. But yeah, just under the 1 hour 36. My graph, it was just spiky towards the end. I had nothing left to give. 176 watch average. That's not great for me. But 1 hour 36, maybe that I should be pleased. I'm really chuffed that I got the ride done and some calories burnt from it. I don't feel actually I could have pushed much harder. I was really struggling during that, and I think it just shows over the recent weeks and months since I've stopped doing the training plan. Maybe I've taken a bit of a step backwards, but as I said, calories burnt, ride complete, route badge ticked off. So yeah, kind of happy with it. But let's catch up in a minute and look at the final results. Well, that went pretty much as expected for me. It's interesting when I'm editing the video together and watching all the other races. It's really interesting to see how quickly those gaps form. How people are already at the top when I'm just getting to the bottom. People crossing the finishing line when I'm still up the mountain. It's crazy just visualising. You know, obviously afterwards in the results and you can see the time differences and stuff, but actually visualising it is very in real time. It's very, very interesting. But let's take a look at the results. On the A-Cat, these guys actually rode with the B-Cats today on different bikes just to give them a bit more of a group to ride with and a challenge. Eric, 54.53, takes 4 points. John in second. John Kerr, I should say, in second, just over the hour, and a minute behind, just under a minute behind John Guthrie. So that leaves ever-present at the moment, John Kerr and Eric at the top of the leaderboard. On to the B-Cat, Chris Jupp winning it, 54.55. Josh Jonesy coming in a couple of minutes behind. We saw that brilliant sprint between David Stark and Noel Slevin towards the end. Just getting to the line first was David Stark. And the overall standings, we've got Neil Corbin at the top, Noel Slevin in second. P. McMillan, a special mention to a couple of the guys I can see here that have stepped up. Apologies if I missed anybody else. But Paul McMillan, Pavel, and also Dougie Monroe have stepped up from the C category into the B cat. I love seeing riders step up into higher level categories. Congratulations, guys. Let's have a look at the C cat. George Evans, we saw winning it. 1 hour and 3 minutes. Andrew Scott, not too far behind in the end. 1 hour and 4. Julia P, just a few seconds behind. There was a lot of riding that was very close together in this until the radio tower sort of split that group, didn't it? But some closer numbers than it felt like it was potentially on the mountain there. George Evans currently at the top of the leaderboard with 316. What I've done with these is to fit them on here and make them legible. Some of the people who've only done maybe one race I've sort of not included in the results standings, but they'll come back in if they do further races as we go along. Let's have a look at the D-Cat. Quite spread out again in the D-Cat. Harry Sophocleus winning it 1 hour, 8 minutes, 49 seconds. Not too far behind David Gilmore. Not too far behind that, Neil Barber as well. Awesome racing, everyone. Close there between Nick Ruddlesden and Chris Cross, within a few seconds of each other. Same with Jay Gilligan and Ian Ferguson. Yeah, some pretty close numbers than what it felt on the mountain. There's a special mention that I want to say to Mark Scholesy. Scholesy, incredible effort to keep going up that mountain. We were riding together for a little while at the bottom as we started the way up, but 1 hour, 54 minutes, 50 seconds, incredible effort. In the overall standings, Latix is currently top, Andrew Evans second. There's sort of the ever-presence with Neil Brandon as well. Lots of people there have done 3 or 4 races, but looking forward to seeing how that all shakes up as the race schedule goes on. But a huge effort, everyone. That is the most difficult race we've done so far. We've got a couple more difficult ones coming up. Going up the Outdoor Zwift later on in the schedule as well. That'll be for double points. So yeah, that'll be a long trek up that mountain for me, that's for sure. Next up on the schedule, race number 6 is in Yorkshire, 2 laps of Duchy Estate. This one's a TT sprint, 7.7 kilometres. So we've gone from a long hour and a half climb up the Watopia mountain to a very quick blast around the Duchy Estate. Love having a mixture of races. That is on the 4th of December, 8 o'clock in the evening UK time. So come along to that one. Nice quick blast on a Sunday evening. But again, huge congratulations for everyone in this race. I'm loving, I've had so many videos, as I said, come in for this race. It makes it a little bit more difficult to edit because I'm trying to watch I can line all the screens up and sort of watch it all unfold, and I try and catch things as they're happening. But there are going to be things I miss, so I apologise if I do. But thank you to everyone for sending videos in. Thank you to all the channel members coming up the screen now. Your support is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. But that is the end of this video. Make sure you come along to the next race, 4th of December, 8 o'clock UK time. But yes, I'll see you on the next one.